who rigged it? As I see it, class warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom? It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. And of course, good morning to the United States of America. Good morning to the entire world receiving our signals via the magic of El Internet, formerly known as ARPANET, created by We the People. Who was that? You created the internet, now being controlled by others. I'm going to tie into a story before I get started with AI, the internet, etc., and why we can't allow ourselves to be snowed. Not the main topic, but something to discuss. But without further ado, let's go into the studio where we are honored to have El Señor Howard Reynolds, Jacques Van Beber, and in there getting her fingers on the magic as well is Mayana. Welcome aboard, folks. How are you guys doing today?
Oh, we're doing good. It's nice to hear you.
Well, it's great hearing your voice, and thank you for being here so early in the mornings. You know, I know you could have been having those little Z's there, but you're here with us at Politics Done Right.
Definitely. Jack is my person here.
All right.
There you go.
Right. Good morning, Egberto. How are you?
I am doing fine. Jack, talk to me, my brother.
All right. This is just flat shameful. 35 of the richest Republicans stand to profit from taking food away from hungry families and health care away from millions. This is a stab in the back of hardworking American families. The American people need to pull out their knives and voter registration cards and put it into it by stabbing back at the midterm elections. Vote them out. That's Howard's. Vote them out. Vote them out.
Wait a minute. Is Howard not in the studio today to actually use his deep voice and say to vote them out?
No, he's out. His sister is getting a surgery today, so he's taking care of that.
Well, let's send positive affirmations to Howard's sister. Positive affirmation, my dear friend. Anyway, who do we have pitching with us today as well, senor?
We have Mr. Sandy Wyman. Let me get him on here.
El Señor Sandy, the interim general manager. How you doing this morning, my brother?
Well, good morning, Egberto. This is day number 7 of our May-June fund drive. This, when we complete today, it will complete the first week of this endeavor to raise $170,000 and keep Free Speech Radio on the air, going strong, fully funded. And KPFT listeners who are up and listening to Egberto's program, and there are very many of you I can see online, and I know out there tuning in with your terrestrial radios, we have raised $77,845 from 434 distinct acts of kindness. So we're trucking along. We're doing pretty good on this drive so far. We have about $92,155 to go, and you can help reduce what we need and increase what we already have in our coffers as we save up to get all the way through the summer. Our next fund drive is intended to be in October of this year. So we're going to go the rest of the summer without asking, but in the meantime, we need to successfully complete what we're doing here today and we'll be doing for the next week or two to gather those funds. So 713-526-5738 option 1 or kpft.org. We talk a lot about sustaining pledges. A $5 a month sustaining pledge will get you a ticket for Tom Hartman and Grant Peoples on August 9th. That's going to be at the Emerson Unitarian Church on Bering Drive, near Bering and Westheimer in Houston. And that soiree ought to be good for the ears, good for the eyes, and good for the mind. $5 a month contribution on a sustaining basis. Sustainers are also matched with a $50 bill. So Egberto's got a $500 goal today. 5 of you 5 of you going to the Tom Hartman event. That's $5 a month sustaining pledges plus five $50 matches gets Egberto to his goal. It's that easy to fund KPFT, that easy to fund this program. But it begins with you, 713-526-5738. Egberto.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. Before I get, I just want to enhance one thing that Sandy said. If you can get using that $5 a month membership, or you can $5 a month membership or more. I mean, if you want to say, you really think this station can really use your largesse, $10 a month, which is what I give every month for this program, and that qualifies you as well for the Tom Hartman show. So please, support us best you can. We do need it. And by the way, I am still behind from Monday. Remember Monday we had that little faux pas in trying to get some of the things running, so it kind of fell behind there. So I still have a few more bucks to make up. So while Sandy says 500, I want to throw that baby to 700. So help me, folks. Let's go ahead and keep this stuff driving. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Select donate. Remember to select Politics Done Right as a product here, as the program you're supporting, or go to kpft.org, do the same, select whatever gift that you want. All right, we have important topics to talk about, but let me first tell you, the title of the show today is Why is Gaza Pain Ignored? 60 Minutes Scott Pelley nails Trump. 35 Republicans line their pockets from what they're going to pass, as well as SpaceX loses another ship. Now, I want to tie a few things together here. I'm probably not going to get to all of them, but these are some very important topics. And believe it or not, I found a common thread. But let's go ahead and start with what SpaceX did yesterday. Elon Musk is a person who has the ability, like Donald Trump, to fail upwards. In other words, most of us, success in whatever we do is dependent on us being successful in doing something, not in spite of doing something. But there is a sect in this country that they don't have to demonstrate success to move forward. I mean, you can have 6 bankruptcies, have convictions, rip people off with giving them false universities, false stakes, water that is just tap water. You can do all these things, defraud the American people. You can have 6 bankruptcies and fail upward under the tenet that you were a good business person. That's what our president did, fail upwards. I mean, very few people could do that. Elon Musk has big companies. He has SpaceX. Everybody talk, Elon Musk have SpaceX that can land on a barge and have the thongs capture a spaceship, and he can carry the astronauts to the space station as Boeing still has problems with its own ship. Oh, he's a genius, but the truth of the matter, Elon Musk is using. By the way, I used to work for NASA. I know how to how we contract other things, what work we do at NASA in Houston, in Alabama, and all these places, and what we contract outwards for others to do. Elon Musk worked with technology that all of us, including you, have paid for decades upon decades, since Kennedy instituted the program to take us to the moon. He's been building on that technology and adapting as his own largesse, his genius, which was never the fact. But what he is trying to do in building this new rocket that supposedly want his fantasy of going to Mars, where his own investments are taking place, he can't get the darn ship to not blow up. As an engineer, let me tell you something about technology today versus technology in the times when when I worked for NASA at Citadel. We didn't have well-developed programs called finite element analysis run by supercomputers and that sort of stuff. You no longer have to blow crap up to figure out if it works. In those days, we would build a spaceship and we wouldn't have taken all the considerations and exceptions into the market. So when it reached in space, in the atmosphere, maximal stress, there are certain things that we didn't know that we figured out by putting sensors on these rockets. And when we got different stresses, we figured, we need to build this better, build that better. In today's world of AI, in today's world of supercomputers, you don't have to blow stuff up to figure out that stuff wouldn't work. You can create the programs, simulate how things work. And again, even simulations can get things wrong, but wrong 9 times, billions, hundreds of millions of dollars thrown into space each time, putting airplanes in danger when these stuff blow up. That's one thing I noticed the news didn't talk about, right? So Elon Musk had a test yesterday, again, with his spaceship. God knows why they had it before doing all the right precautions, to tell you the truth. I was shocked that a few months after their last blow up, they came away and started this one this quickly, which tells me a lot of simulation didn't take place. But he goes ahead and he sends a rocket up again. It blows up on its way to re-entry. Lost control, everything. In space, or, upper atmosphere. Guess what? Everything that goes up must come down. And when you have things fragmented, you have all kind of fragments all over the place. By the way, folks, are you flying over the Atlantic anytime soon? Look, space is big. The huge atmosphere is humongous. But there's always a risk when mishaps happen, like with Musk's many explosions, that some particle on its way down is going to enter the engines or break the skin of a jet cruising close to the speed of sound. We've been lucky thus far with Musk's failures. We've been lucky thus far in space with Musk's failures. How much lucky will we continue with a failed, someone that many like to call an engineer? Musk ain't no engineer. He's a businessman who made billions from the tech bubble and converted that into using his money to make money. How much more of his failures before he brings down a jetliner? And I say this, I don't hear this on TV. I don't hear this on the mainstream media. But every time one of those big, massive rockets blow up, there are particles all over. And what we don't know is directionality. What that means is, as this stuff is flying at several Machs, that means several times the speed of sound, and you get an unstable rocket and it explodes, you don't know where the hell all those particles are going. And we have aviation all over the place, some of them in the path of where that explosion and the particles are going to fall. And you are going to hear sometime about an aviation accident, and they're going to talk about not knowing exactly what caused the accident. What was the failure? Was it engine failure? Was it structural failure? And one of these days, it's going to be just one of Musk's failed experiments that brings down an airliner, that brings down something. This is a guy who is also, his failures, failing upwards, doesn't only stop with rockets. It also hits our government. Because one of the reasons, or one of the arguments that Donald Trump used for this big tax cut is that they were going to be able to find a whole lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. And his point, man, was none other than failing upwards Elon Musk. And Elon Musk, with big fanfare, said, we can be able to cut $2 trillion out of government so that we can give it to all those rich people, right? So that is a premise that they use on how they are going to be able to provide all this rich people with their tax cuts. He's going to find $2 trillion. When he found out he was way over his head, when he finally went in to see how government really works, he reduced that to 1 trillion. That failed. He laid people off left and right. He laid monitors and the folks who checked for whether there was waste, fraud, and abuse. He got them fired. He laid them off. He got rid of them. The real people who understand government and know what fraud is about, he got rid of them. And in the process of him trying to find waste, fraud, and abuse and closing down NOAA, which means our hurricane season, we're going to be in trouble, not having great forecasts this year. There's a lot waiting to happen. Got rid of USAID, which puts our goodwill around the country in danger as a whole lot of farmers' foods rot in warehouses instead of being there to feed people. Got rid of agency after agency, stole our Social Security data, IRS data, with the expectation of using AI to do God knows what with it. That's what the man who failed upward must did. And then at the end, when he couldn't find any real waste, fraud, and abuse in the programs that he looked at, he claimed to have saved and found 150 billion in fraud, waste, and abuse. But of course, we all know the way the Trump administration works. If they had found any fraud, you would have had those fraudsters marching up in a pep walk to show waste, fraud, and abuse. They would have said, look, you see, we told you this criminal was stealing from money. Of course, we know the real thief in the White House is the president, as he pardons people who's ripped the treasury off for hundreds of millions of dollars. Just this week, that couple got pardoned after swindling $30-something million from us all. But they got a pardon. So he couldn't find he claimed he found $150 billion. The New York Times and all the newspapers can't find what he's talking about. In other words, in the programs that he looked at, they found no waste, fraud, and abuse. Medicaid, no waste, fraud, and abuse. There is fraud in Medicare. It's called Medicare Advantage. It's a portion worked for, tested, or run by the government, by the private sector. A lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. Did he look there? Nope. So as our brothers and sisters are out there on Medicare Advantage, as they ask Humana, as they ask US Health, as they ask all these insurance companies running Medicare Advantage, hey, I need to see the doctor. Oops, no, you can't. You just got to go die. Because they bring you up front with bells and whistles and dinners, and they give you a breakfast, and then they take $10,000 from the government from each person they sign up. And then when it is time to pay your bill, we are sorry, denied. You remember that guy that Mancioni killed, that executive from the insurance company that everybody's up in air about? That insurance company started to be a bit more lenient with their policies and approved a bit more funding to fulfill their requirements. You know what happened? Their investors sued them. For doing what they're supposed to do, giving insurance, paying the insurance bills of more of their people because it reduced their profit. Failing upwards. That is what we have become, failing upwards. So Elon Musk didn't find anything to save us from. He found no waste, fraud, and abuse. But I tell you where he could find a lot of it. The Defense Department, the Defense Industrial Complex that feeds our Defense Department, have yet to pass an audit. You know, our gatekeepers, the people who find fraud and abuse, they could not get in there and be able to do an audit because they're failures. They continue to take your money and purportedly build bombs at a price that the bombs don't cost. even as they do all wrong with it. So the reason I brought this up is we have to stop deifying folks with capital, thinking that somehow they have something that you don't. Everybody that is listening to my voice right now, you are more important for running our society on any day than Elon Musk or the President of the United States. In fact, their presence since the beginning of the year has done more harm than good. We could let the government at this point in time work on autopilot, and it would be a lot more efficient than what we're seeing right now. So I've shown you where failing upwards is going to put aviation under pressure. I've shown you how an Elon Musk in government has put us under pressure, including screwing the FAA so badly that now even flying is riskier than it was pre-January 20th. All right, folks, it's about time for me to do a little break here for Sandy to do some pitching. I want you to know that I am at absolutely zero right now. I would like to ask all of you, we're going to be pitching for a few minutes right now, 3 minutes or so. So I'm going to ask you kindly, use this time. I know a lot of you don't like to call it to be interrupting the program proper. So 3 minutes, it's only take you about 1 minute to make that donation. We're going to stop for about 3 minutes to get some money in here if we kindly can receive some from you for what we do here. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. $5 a month. It gets you the Tom Hartman tickets. $10 a month as well. We are trying to build sustainers right now so that we can have a dedicated path of income, that we don't have to come with these fund drives, which God knows I hate. I hate interrupting our program to do this, but we have to if we are to stay on air. Likewise, you can have coffee with Egberto, $250. There are a lot of different offers, and Sandy's going to tell you about that. Please call now. Please do it now. And then after 3 or 4 minutes, we're going to get right back into the program. Brother, interim manager, director, come on in, Sandy.
Thank you, Egberto. Yes, you always have the option to call 713-526-5738. You have the option of hitting option 1 and talking to somebody on the line and making your donation. It doesn't take very long. Likewise, you can go to kpft.org. The website's been revamped. For those of you that haven't visited our website in a while, you can now go over there and kind of peruse all the thank you gifts, including the donated concert tickets from our underwriters. You can look at all of that and make your selection if it's a thank you gift that floats your boat, so to speak, here on Wednesday morning. If not, just no thank you gifts, always appreciated too. A lot of people just donate and don't take anything away. We have our 55th anniversary lapel pin online. I believe that's a $40 contribution. A couple of other things to talk about. We have a big party a week from Friday at the Heights Theater. We'll be celebrating our 55th anniversary. We have Guy Forsyth and Rodney Crowell performing that evening, and there are still general admission tickets left online or by calling the number 713-526-5738, option 1. I already talked about the Tom Hartman Grant Peoples event on August 9th. All that takes is a $5 sustaining pledge or a one-time pledge of $60 per ticket. A couple of you can do that for a $10 a month sustaining pledge. One more thing I'd like to talk about, again, KPFT celebrating with its listeners on Clear Lake, September 6th from 1 to 4 p.m. Dead on the Lake. We're going to be hearing some jam band music, rock and roll, and of course the good old Grateful Dead. A 3-hour tour on Clear Lake, including food and drink, fully catered. $150 a ticket, $12.50 month sustaining membership, or $275 a pair for this 3-hour tour. We've done this a couple times under the blues genre, and the last time with the R&R guys, and everybody had a really good time on this event. So it's a good way of bringing people together, a good way of sharing stories about KPFT, and in this case, testing your trivia knowledge. We're going to be playing a little trivia on the boat in September when we get there. Again, our phone number to make a donation, 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org and click donate. None of the above, you say? I don't want any of that stuff. I don't like it. Maybe you'd like to get a Politics Done Right t-shirt and sport the colors of which you listen to in the morning, celebrating Egberto's program on, on the slant of what's going on in the world with our politics, and maybe opening your eyes to something that you didn't really see before, hidden behind all the words and all those bills that get so confusing if you read the fine print. This is a good way to straighten that out every morning. 713-526-5738, option 1. We're about halfway through the broadcast, and I think we're still waiting on our first pledge, Egberto, and it would be great if somebody broke the ice right now, if that was possible. Back to you, man.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. Yeah, it would be great. Also, you know what? Whenever we're trying to raise money, one of I'm doing the show, and at the same time, I'm thinking about I've got to raise this money to keep this show on air. I've got to raise this money, So it's a duality in the way you're thinking. Sandy helps out in that he can take some of the pressure off in doing the pitching. Thank you so kindly, Sandy, for that. But let me tell you, folks, when you have a program, a radio station that is solely dependent on the people that are listening to it, sometimes it can become, it is one more thing that you add to what you have to do. I want to give a big thank you to Cheryl Elkins, who said she upped her sustaining donation a bit yesterday. Egberto, happy to help you and all the great work you're doing. Thank you so kindly for that. Cheryl also, Gayla Kunis upped her monthly as well. Thank you, Gayla Kunis, for doing that as well. Erne Boxall, to one of the topics I covered, said it is ignored. I think he was speaking about Gaza. It is ignored because of the billions of dollars sent to Gaza that they wasted on rockets, tunnels, and the grift of the leaders in Qatar. Um, I hear you, Ernie, but I want to remind you of something. Look, there two things can be true at the same time. But one thing is true is that we're all human beings. We all suffer. We all feel pain. We all have children. We all love our children, or mothers, or fathers. Most of the people that do wrong, do badly, do bad things are not those. Doesn't matter if I say I hate person one, I hate nobody, but you understand what I'm saying? It doesn't deserve what's happening. You take a look at what Gaza looks like, pummeled and flattened, and you take a look at what Tel Aviv and Jerusalem and Haifa and all these places look like. It is hard to make an objective case that what's happening in Gaza is not inhumane. And I won't use the words on this show that I would use on my other show right now, but I don't think it is. Your eyes are not lying to you. Welcome aboard, Laura Whiteside, Dallas Bow, Teresa W. Hemmings, Judy Wilson, Sandra, Cheryl Elkins, Glenn Cooper, L. Johnson, Bob Reiger, Sophia Morao. Sophia is the president of the Houston Peace and Justice Center. We're going to have an interview in June with Sophia. I'm very impressed with the work that she's done and the energy that she's put in since becoming the president of Houston Peace and Justice Center. Suzette Jensen, Adam W., welcome aboard. And Kay, welcome aboard. In our other chat, that was our Substack chat, our Restream chat, which includes YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and the other lives. Lisa Blair from Atlanta, Georgia is in the house. Eric Hayes from Kingwood, Atascocita. Joe from Los Angeles, California. We also have Lisa says, I suspect since SpaceX has an extremely toxic work environment, they're told to get it done by a certain date instead of working out most. I think you're right about that because, like I said, with finite element analysis right now and AI combined, you don't have to blow stuff up to know how stuff work. In fact, we can even simulate how cells work. And one of the reasons we were able to get some of these vaccines out so quickly is all the simulations that we are able to do Billy Irwin, good morning from Summerwood. And that is the reason why. So I think you nailed it, Lisa Blair. I think you nailed it. All right. Continuing, folks. We're still at zero. I was hoping in that 3 minute gap we would get a few calls or a few people gone to kpft.org. I'm still at zero. I know you want to keep the program on air, or I hope you want to keep the program on air. So please, folks, go ahead and do what you can to help us keep this thing going as we are. Okay, another subject I want to cover that's not in the actual newsletter that I send out every morning before the show, but I saw it running across Morning Joe this morning, which is what I watched just before going on to the show. And they were speaking about AI. And they're talking about, how the manufacturing revolution, the industrial revolution, because of machinery, etc., it really rid us of a whole lot of manufacturing jobs. If you go into, Donald Trump constantly talks about bringing back manufacturing so that we'll have a lot more employment in the United States, without telling you that a lot of manufacturing is very automated right now, that the amount of employment relative to the increase in costs for attempting to get that employment in the United States of America doesn't really compute. There are other things that we have to look at very well. In other words, let me give an example. When you manufacture overseas, let's say in Vietnam, and I'm not talking slave labor manufacturing, I'm just talking lower cost labor because of exchange rates and all that sort of stuff. We're leave the slave labor and the bad environmental disaster and all of that out for a minute. But let's just look at the exchange rate between labor, etc. Countries like China have developed their economies to be mass manufacturers, and we can't and could never match that. Their population is huge. They have a different model, etc. So they will always be able to manufacture cheaper. And am I saying I'm proposing that the exporting of our jobs? No, but that's what we did for 40 years. For 40 years, we exported jobs. We're not going to change the economic systems in 2 or 4 year administration at all. We have to actually have a plan on how are we going to bring back critical manufacturing to the United States, and how are we going to enhance jobs for the United States citizen. Trump doesn't think that way. In fact, Trump doesn't think. Like I said, when you are in a position from failing upwards, it doesn't require critical thinking at all. That's why they make the decisions that they make. They don't critically think. They don't think like, well, China is so much more efficient in manufacturing, which affords American citizens more stuff that can be made well, inexpensively. They can afford on salaries that aren't humongous any longer. So they don't talk about these things, or they don't talk about how we can transition or subsidize certain industries to make sure that critical things are made here, but that the pain isn't felt by individual, but us as a largesse, the entire country bear the cost of it. Things like medic health care and all of that. That's how you should really look at that. It shouldn't be in the profit domain. Now that said, people are starting to fear AI. And the thing about it is, AI is not the thing that's going to affect these manufacturing jobs in the aggregate. That have already been done. It's called exporting our jobs to Asia, exporting our jobs to Vietnam and Philippines and these kinds of things. That's already been done. AI is a different animal. You know, let me just do from a personal standpoint. I'm a one person news operation. I flood the zone with progressive information, whether that be TikTok, Instagram, Telegram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, all of that at once. When I start this program in the morning, it is piped all over the place. One person. And that is done via the magic of a lot of different AI instruments, right? And when it's time for me to turn a lot of my program in that I'm talking to you guys right now, and a lot of you call in and give. I mean, you guys are smart. Some of the callers that call in, and look, one person corrected me last night. I got an email from Patrick last night that said, "I want to tell you kindly that you messed up with DEFCON 5 as opposed to DEFCON 1." And I said, I had that stuff blasted all over the place. Daily Kos, Op-Ed News, all these places, and I missed DEFCON 5 for DEFCON 1. Well, I made all those changes. But one of the reasons that it's all over the place that quickly, etc., is that I have tools, AI tools that aids. I am going to process our video that we're doing right here through AI, so that it can take out some of the great stuff many of you have said, and I can go ahead and then take that and turn that into good TikToks and good Instagrams, etc. Now, if I didn't have all these tools, I would have to have a whole lot more folk working to do this, to put out the same volume of information. Now, again, all these tools cost, but it doesn't mean I have to pay a health insurance for somebody else, because if I hire somebody, I am not like these corporations. One of the reasons I work solo is if I hire somebody, I want that person to have health insurance. And since our government is lousy in the health department, and it's going to get worse if we cut Medicaid, Medicare, etc., I would want that. Since I can't do that, I just bust my behind 16 hours a day to get the job done. AI makes it possible. So if I am doing that as a one-person operation, think about what news agencies are going to do. Take a look at the Houston Chronicle. Read a story and then read the About section of the Houston Chronicle. It says the following: some of our stories are AI generated, but it all goes through a human being eventually. In other words, they have a system that will bring, I read it, I think it was in their About section or one thing, that can go ahead and pull out stories from around the ethos, but of course it goes through a human being for veracity, etc. What do you think that did? That means they can hire probably 50% less reporters, because copy editing is a lot less effort than actually doing and building a story, building, etc. So yes, AI is going to take away a lot of jobs, but there's original material that comes from what we do, folks. So right now, there's a panic as far as what is AI going to do to employment, but specifically white collar employment. And people are scared because they believe we could get an increase in unemployment of 20% when AI really gets more matured in the next 16 to 18 months, and all these jobs go away. And that's true. It's something to worry about. But when you have an immoral economic system, I want you to hear this. When you have an immoral economic system, that becomes a problem. If we become a moral economic system, AI is a tool that shouldn't just make a few people who capitalize, who invest in AI. It shouldn't just make a few people rich, because remember what I said, the billionaires and the millionaires, they make their income off your backs. And don't let anybody that call in and complain about, no, capitalism doesn't do that, it created all these skyscrapers and these great buildings. Do not believe the crap. Capitalism, our economic system as functioning, builds its cash flow, its wealth for the wealthy on your backs. It uses you. Let me show you with AI. AI is nothing magical. Big language models, nothing logical. I mean, nothing's magical. AI looks at everything you, Americans, everybody listening to me, everything you have typed and placed onto Facebook, everything you've typed and placed onto an article, if you've written an article on, everything that you have ever done that can be aspirated over the internet is what builds the knowledge base of AI, which means you are every single person hearing my voice who has ever written an email, who has ever done something. You know, when researchers research people's behavior, right? let's say Texas A&M or the University of Texas are doing a study on how people behave. You are a part of that study because you're a part of people and they determine how you behave. AI picks up that information and then they can regurgitate that when somebody asks AI a certain type of question and build models, etc. So you are instrumental. Every single human being is instrumental in what AI does. But the way our economic system works right now, under the current laws, the people who are going to benefit from AI are those who have the capital to pay the software engineers who go ahead and create the large language models that interpret all of your data. And those engineers make a good salary, but all the spoils and profit. When I pay OpenGPT, I have a professional OpenGPT account. I have a professional Zoom account. I have and I don't mean Zoom Inc. account, the ones that does the automation. I'm not talking about the Zoom that we use. I have all these automated things that I pay monthly for all these different services. The spoils doesn't go to all the people who participated, but it goes to just the people who own that company that does these different models and pocket it for their shareholders, even though all of you were instrumental in giving the knowledge base that they use. So what we actually need, instead of being fearful of AI, is being moral about AI. Being moral says, when I generate an AI picture, it use a lot of other people's know-how, and that thing generates some sort of a picture. When I get an article that if I pass, let's say Brian calls into the show, and I pass him through AI, it may take out the pertinent parts of what Brian had to say based on language models and knowing this is important, this isn't important, and puts it out and give it to me. In other words, I am still the creator of this stuff, but I enhanced by other things. So what should really a moral economic system do? A moral economic system would then say, we acknowledge that the public, the commons, the collective is instrumental in all these things, and we do not allow the capitalists, the folks who have the capital, to run everything. Now, what that should mean is instead of people losing their jobs, is having shortened work weeks. 40-hour work week in a manufacturing in a country that's based on manufacturing makes sense. But having people work as a collective in a system now that had taken advantage of all of us as a collective in the first place, meaning maybe we work 20 hours a week. Maybe we do other things, as we can now do much more. We can be with our families more. We can go to the park more, because no longer is a work week a 40-hour week. We have a lot more free time because we have computers that use their composite knowledge over years to do things. But you have to think morally to be able to do these things and be honest about taking advantage of others. All right. I want to give a big thank you to Bruce H. He let's see, was ensure is. Thank you, thank you for ensuring I'm not left zero. So thank you so kindly for that contribution, Bruce, as well as Cheryl Lavrie Elkins. Thank you so kindly for that contribution. Now we still have about 70% more to go, but I know you can do it for me. 713-526-5773. I tell you what, I'm limiting the calls to about a minute because I have to jump back afterwards to Sandy for talking. So let's bring Bruce in real quick. Come on in, Bruce.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
Yeah, I turned 71 today.
Okay, stop. Happy birthday to Bruce. Happy birthday to Bruce. Happy birthday, good Bruce. Happy birthday to you. All right, continue.
Yeah, I got 41 years more than I thought I'd ever get when I was a young man. But anyway, the reason I called and is I can't believe that Trump is now, well, I can believe, but I'm very upset that Trump is now selling get out of jail free cards. If you have the money and you contribute, you're going to get your pardon. And that is crap. But anyway, I'm not going to hold you very long today because I know you got other callers. So goodbye.
Thank you, my brother Bruce. All right, let's go to Brian. Come on in, Brian, real quick.
Yes, good morning. You're probably going to get a lot more donations after I'm finished. That normally happens. Hunter Biden had cocaine in the most secure office in the entire world. Nobody found out, but they're going to. And Joe Biden, he was charged with having secret and classified documents dating back to when he was a senator, but he was not charged because he was just a feeble old man that couldn't remember anything. So, why is the cover-up not being portrayed?
How is that going to, Brian? How is that going to help us right now, Brian? How is that going to help anything that we're doing right now? And compared to what? Let me just say this, okay? That you are so stuck on Biden and not on what Donald Trump is doing right now, that's actually going to hurt you as well, because I know your age, I know who you are, I know the work that you do. And I'm telling you right now, what your Führer is doing right now is going to have a material effect on your well-being. Okay? So you can continue to hyperventilate. Let me finish, please, sir. You can continue to hyperventilate about Biden as your Führer takes out of your pocket, as your Führer makes your life more difficult, and as your Führer take away your long-term financial security. But Brian, I got to go to Sandy, and I thank you so kindly for calling. Sandy, come on in.
Hey, Berto. Yeah, well, you're not a zero. Thank you, Cheryl and Mike, and also to Bruce. And happy birthday to the Bruce that called in. I don't know if they're one and the same, but man, that's great. And yeah, take care of yourself. You may have more years left. Make them good ones, you know. Folks, we're trying to collect some money here, trying to get to a $700 goal this morning. I think that's what Egberto said.
Yes.
I told him 5. He said 7. We'll go with Egberto's number. He's the host. So we're around $500 short. Let's talk about KPFT and being short on the goal. You folks listening, you sponsored this station, listener sponsored. If people don't call in, and a lot of people don't, in fact, 1 in 16 people that listen bother to make the call to begin with. If you don't call in and we're starved for money, it's not like it was 10 years ago with KPFT where we go, oh, well, we'll be all right. We'll just keep going. We've got the budget cut down to 1 paid employee. We've got the budget cut down to where we've been able to pay all our bills based on the success of our fund drives over the past couple of years. And I thank everybody that's been a participant in those. If you're new, well, consider it. But if we don't get that money, then we stop paying certain bills. Oh, let's say like the tower bill, you know, where our antenna is in Northwest Houston. We rent space on a radio tower. Most radio stations have to rent space if they're a radio station. I don't know how you would define it otherwise. This is a pretty costly endeavor. You think about a 100,000 watt transmitter, which is at the base of that tower, fed by power that comes in from CenterPoint most of the time reliably, and we're able to broadcast. If we don't pay that bill, no broadcast. We rely on internet infrastructure all around the country. That too is costly. If we don't pay that bill, no broadcast. What I'm getting at is the bills that remain, the operation of the radio station, each and every part and piece is critical. We don't want to blow up on reentry. We don't want to blow up on the way up. We don't want to fail upward. We need all the people that listen to this station to consider themselves sponsors and do just their part. A $5 bill every month on a sustaining basis is a $60 pledge during the year. Your $5 bill every month. If you sign up, it's greeted with a $50 match, making it easier for us to get to our overall goal. $5 a month. Let's think about that $5 bill in your pocket. And when you take that out, What are you going to buy with that today? Pack of gum? A tin of mints? A couple gallons of gas if the price is right? Maybe a little less? There's not much that you can get even in the grocery store for a single item at $5 anymore. Goes a long way at KPFT, and it will make it such that we won't fail, that we will pay that electric bill, that tower bill, that we will have the wherewithal to continue these broadcasts. But it's down to cases. Grant money, in this environment, pretty difficult. CPB money, forget it, ain't happening. Not until we get a new administration, and then maybe. There's all kinds of funding that KPFT does not get from other sources. It comes from the listener. So if you're listening to the sound of our voices this morning, and you're enjoying the independent programming, the music, the news, the views on this community station, do $5 a month on a sustaining basis, especially if you've never pledged before. Never, ever. Not once. I've been listening now for a few years, maybe for a few days, but you've never made a pledge. And that's most of the people I'm talking about too right now. Come on, join in with your friends and neighbors, spread out the load, make it easy on everybody. Indeed, if everybody listening right now were to do what I've suggested, $5 a month, this fund drive would be near over. But we have to work so hard as volunteers and ask for the money. And as Egberto said, it's uncomfortable. A lot of the folks that do this don't like doing it. In fact, only a couple of people I know enjoy Fund Drive. They'll tell me that. I, for one, well, I just wish it was all on autopilot and the programming went on uninterrupted 365 days a year, and we didn't have to worry so much about the economics of running KPFT. But it's never been like that. Not in 55 plus years. We're always as good as our last fund drive. Now we're just really beginning this. This is day number 7, and we've made tremendous project
progress.
We've made a leap forward. Progress. Thank you. It's early. I'm tongue-tied. It's only a cup and a quarter of coffee into the morning. Progress on our goal here. Thank you, Egberto. But we could really stand to hear from you. Now, come on. Break free $5 a month. Throw it our way. And let's see what magic happens this morning. Maybe 10 of you right now doing $5 a month. We can do this, folks. There are thousands of you listening. 10 of you stopping to call 713-526-5738 or going to kpft.org and clicking donate will get it done. And look, if you're going to sign up at $5 a month, treat yourself. Treat yourself to hear Tom Hartman and Grand Peoples on August 9th. So join us, 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Egberto, back to you.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. Uju M says, how do we donate for this goal? Uju, you can either call 713-526-5738, hit extension 1, and tell them how much or what you want to give. Please remember to tell them it's for Politics Done Right. Or you can go to kpft.org, hit the donate button, select whatever gift you want. Also, when it comes to the drop down, please tell them, please select Politics Done Right so that Sandy can put these things appropriately for the shows that are generating the particular, the particular contributions. I want to give a big thank you to Troy J. Thank you so kindly for that sustainer. We need about 9 more of those would be great. 9 more of those would be great. So please, again, Uju, that is the kpft.org. Ugu says, number 2, the pay for pardon scheme, Orange Baby, is now running hurt victims of crime committed because when you issue a pardon, you eliminate restitution and court fees owed. Remember, folks, it's the corruption of it all. It affects us all. Absolutely. Betty, come on in, line 1.
It'll be short. I know the time's close, but great show today, Alberto. Right on the thing. You're right in there, and you're swinging. But on, Bruce, on his possum, If he sees them again, he's not aggressive, and he's in good company. And my little baby possum, she is thriving and doing well. And I want to say, Joe has cancer, Brian. Show some time. Love y'all. Bye-bye.
Love you too, Betty. Thank you so kindly for being here, folks. There's a lot of other subjects that I'm not able to cover, so the last couple of minutes I'm going to use to pitch. But politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. The four other stories. It's funny. The four stories that I wrote out to talk about, I didn't speak about any at all, but it's right there for you to go and see. And when I do the next part of this program, I'll actually throw it up on the server to have the other programs in there as well. Anyway, folks, the number is 713-526-5738. Marge GKJ, welcome aboard. Likewise, Adam W says precisely what Bill Gates did. You're right about that. I saw, I think, Margaret from Washington State, Margaret Ryan from Washington State. Whenever you put where you're from, I like to call your name out. Thank you guys for being here. On the other chats, I want to welcome Billy Irwin, Joe, and all the Lisa Blair, all of you. Thank you so kindly for being here. The number is 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738, extension 1. Be sure to tell them it's for Politics Done Right, or go to kpft.org, hit that donate button, do whatever you can. Again, please remember to put Politics Done Right so it is listed appropriately in our accounting. Okay, folks, it's my time here to get out of Dodge. So I just want to tell you, love you all. We'll continue this tomorrow and the day after and the day after and the day after. It is our job to keep. Lee the Bearcat from Austin just came in pretty darn late, but love you anyway, Lee the Bearcat from Austin, Texas. All right. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. Yes, sir.
You're going
Go ahead.
5 over.
Oh, I'm going 5. Oh, great. I'm going 5 over, so I get a chance to say a bit more. I tell you, before I go back into a little pitch here, let me see if Sandy wants to do a final pitch before I get into a little something real quickly. Oh, I
Troy,
probably caught.
who is a new, thanks to Troy, who is a new member at a $5 a month level. That's one. We're looking for 9 more. By the way, we got started this morning with Cheryl and Mike from Framingham, Massachusetts. So not even in town, but the next 2 are from Houston and Katy. So Houston, you're starting to represent and support your community radio station. Come on, folks. A few more of you. $5 a month. $5 bill. Come on, we're not asking for a lot. We're asking for a little from a lot of you. That's the way it's supposed to work. Egberto, back to you. That's true progress when you get those pledges.
Absolutely, folks. Thank you so kindly, guys. You don't know when you're a host of a program and somebody calls in and tells you that they're getting something out of it, or somebody shows with their contributions that they can. I mean, I know everybody can't, but for those who can, show you. I tell you what it does for me. It makes my nights a lot better. I work very late, 1, 2 in the mornings, writing this stuff and putting stuff together, etc. It's what gives me strength. Because, a lot of times I'm doing stuff, and the biggest thing that I say, and this may sound corny, but it is really true. When I started my company, different companies I've had, people were always negative. My father always said, if you can do it for the man, you can do it for yourself. I have faith in you. And that made me not ever want to stay in a state of failure for my dad. And that's the same way I feel for the folks who are supporting Politics Done Right. One of the things that keep me going is that I've got to keep making sure these people expect this, and it's there. I mean, I remember getting an email when my daughter got her stroke, and I took off to DC to live with her for a while, and we did the show out of DC. And this woman called, and she emailed, and she said, where were you? Because they hadn't known, and it was gone for a week, and it was like I expect you to be there at 3 in the afternoon. I mean, it was that sort of, and it as bad as things were in DC and the pain you're feeling, just knowing that, you're establishing this community is great. Our KPFT community, our Politics Done Right community, and that's how we know it is supported. When those of you who can help out here, so please, 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 be a part of the team. 713-526-5738. Extension number 1 to donate. Select Politics Done, or tell them it's for Politics Done Right, or go to kpft.org, kpft.org, hit that donate button, and select Politics Done Right at the show and give whatever you can. I want to say this. This is not pitching. This is 35 richest Republicans in the Senate and the House. These are the people with the largest positions on committees to transfer your hard-earned dollars based on the policies that they're passing to them. When I tell you that these people that are hungry for capital is a psychological problem. If I had $1 million, if I had $10 million, now let's forget about a million, let's say $10 million, and I know getting a tax break of a few $100,000 means that a baby will not be fed. It means that somebody won't get health care. I couldn't go to sleep at night knowing that I had more than I needed. I had much more than I needed, but I'm going to be in charge of writing policies that take money away from others, take the well-being away from others. I want you guys to think about the psychology of the wealthy that does this. And the thing about it is, when our brother Brian calls in protecting a system that harms himself as well, what is the psychological pathology that leads us to support those folks that present policies like this, that create hate among all of us, so that because I know cutting you will harm you, and I don't want you to get something, that you are willing to have that sacrifice not go to you, go to the fat cat, the rich, wealthy person that is writing the laws. So that is one of the articles in the newsletter. 35 richest Republicans set to line their pockets while taking food, healthcare from millions. And look, I'm not restricting this to Republicans. I'm throwing this onto neoliberal Democrats as well. Those that support, like Joe Manchin when he was there, who said giving money to the poor people in his district, in his state. He was senator, mostly MAGA and otherwise. Giving money to them, they'll drink it off, he said. That was a neoliberal Democrat. But anyway, I got just 1.5 minutes to leave, so my last speech is as follows. Folks, please support what we do. What we do is important. A lot of people don't get the news in a fashion that they can digest to realize what's being done to them. And when presented to them, it helps us all. MAGA is not the enemy. MAGA, welcome and thank you Uju, thank you so kindly for your sustaining membership from Boynton Beach. Actually, it's Obia Nunu Mabali. Thank you so kindly from Florida. Love you. Thank you so kindly. So as I said, my dear brothers and sisters, MAGA is not my enemy at all. Right-wingers are not my enemies. Rank and file Republicans are not my enemies. Anarchists are not my enemies. I'm a progressive. I'm a left-wing progressive. But all I care about is all of us. None of these folks are my enemies. So when I speak, I just ask one thing. Listen objectively. And if you have a backstory or a commentary that you want to provide as well, let me hear it. I am up to change my mind whenever I'm wrong. Patrick caught me a couple of days ago, or actually last night, that I had to correct, and I have no problems correcting at all. So anyway, I got to get out of here now. I'm at the last minute, I believe. So therefore, I want to thank Sandy for pitching with me today. I want to thank, Brother Jack for the work that he always does. Mayana, first time I heard your voice in the studio. Thank you for being here. It was great having you here. Look, let's do it. Even as I get off the air, you can still call 713-526-5738 extension 1 and contribute. You can still go to kpft.org and contribute. Please make sure to select Politics Done Right so it's appropriately accounted. All right. Love you all. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We now join Democracy Now! In progress.
People that you have who can be moved into action, we are obligated to move them into action.
Humanitarian groups warn Sudan is on the brink of a public health catastrophe, as Sudanese officials have reported at least 2,700 cholera infections and 100